Welcome back, dear students. Today our topic is secondary growth. Secondary growth simply means increase in girth or thickness of dicot plants due to the activity of lateral meristems. दो तरह के lateral meristems हैं. First one is vascular cambium and second one is cork cambium. Okay. Vascular cambium results in the formation of secondary vascular tissues like secondary xylem and secondary phloem, and cork cambium helps in the formation of cork that we will discuss separately. In addition to the normal secondary growth that takes place in dicots, there are some abnormal or anomalous cases of secondary growth in some monocots like Drosina, Alloy, Yucca, and many other monocots. In these monocots, what happens is secondary growth takes place, but that secondary growth is not due to vascular cambium. An unusual type of cambium forms in these plant species, which results in secondary growth. That is why this sort of secondary growth is known as anomalous or abnormal secondary growth. Okay, we will focus mainly on the secondary growth of dicot stems. In dicot stems, secondary growth can be studied under the following subheadings. The first one is formation of vascular cambium. Dicot stems possess cambium between xylem and phloem in each vascular bundle. I have already told you, and that vascular cambium, that cambium is known as vascular cambium. It is derived from procambium of shoot apical meristem. जो vascular cambium होता है ये shoot apical meristem के procambium से बनता है. Okay. Now the parenchymatous cells of primary medullary rays, they become meristematic and form interfascicular cambium. मैं आपको बताऊंगा next slide पे. Okay, you can easily see in the image. The fascicular and interfascicular cambium, they join with each other and form a complete ring of vascular cambium. Here you can see ये यहाँ पे जो cambium होता है present between primary xylem and primary phloem, this is known as fascicular cambium. Okay, some cells which are present between the vascular bundles, they are the cells of primary medullary rays. These are parenchymatous cells. They become meristematic. Okay, and they also become cambial. They also form a cambium strip which is known as interfascicular cambium. Now, all the strips of interfascicular cambium and the fascicular cambium which is present in each vascular bundle, they join with each other and result in the formation of a complete ring of vascular cambium. Okay. Now you have a complete ring of vascular cambium. The next step is what are the different types of vascular cambium. Okay, vascular cambium is a lateral meristem composed of two types of cells, and this vascular cambium, it always remains single layered. Okay, याद रखना, it always remains single layered. The two types of cells in vascular cambium are, the first one is fusiform initials and second one is ray initials. Fusiform initials of vascular cambium, they are vertically elongated cells, and these vertically elongated cells, they form xylem and phloem elements of longitudinal system. जो xylem में trichetes होती हैं, vessels होती है, या phloem में sieve tube elements हैं, they result from fusiform initial divisions. जब fusiform initials divide करती हैं, they result in the formation of similar type of cells, and these cells, they give rise to trichetes, vessels, and the sieve tube elements of phloem. Now, ray initials. Ray initials are the spherical cells. Okay, this is the vascular cambium. मैंने आपको बोला इसमें दो तरह की cells होती है. Say for example this cell. Okay, it is spherical and forms parenchymatous rays in secondary xylem and secondary phloem. ये cell divide करेगी. It will result in the formation of cells both towards inside and outside. Okay, and these cells, they will remain parenchymatous and result in the formation of secondary medullary rays. Now the activity of vascular cambium. अब आपको पता है कि vascular cambium में किस किस type की cell है. The vascular cambium always remains in a straight-up division. The individual cells of vascular cambium divide by periclinal divisions, and out of the two cells, one differentiates into secondary tissue and the other remains cambial. For example, यहाँ पे ये एक vascular cambial cell है, okay, or this one is a vascular cambial cell. It has divided, okay, resulted in the formation of two cells. Say for example, जो अंदर वाली cell है, it will divide and form the tracheid or vessel, or you can simply say it will result in the formation of the elements of secondary xylem. ये वाली cell जो है, it will remain cambial. That is why I have already told you that the vascular cambium remains single layered throughout. Okay. The cambial cells thus add new cells either towards center or towards periphery. Okay. जो cambial cells होती है, they go on adding cells both towards the outer side. यहाँ पे भी cells add करती हैं और यहाँ पे भी cells add करती है. Okay. A single layer of cambial cells still remains there. और यहाँ पे आपको हमेशा एक लेयर सेल्स का रहेगा, that will be meristematic, that will be cambial. Okay. याद रखना, a single layer of cambial cells, they go on adding cells both towards the inside of the stem and towards the periphery. Now the formation of secondary xylem and secondary phloem. The fusiform in shells of vascular cambium, they divide by tangential walls and add new cells. Okay. जो fusiform in shells होते हैं, मैंने जो बोला आपको, they are vertically elongated cells. Okay. They divide by tangential walls and it will result in the formation of cells which will go both towards periphery and towards the center. Okay. That means fusiform in shells, they add cells both towards the center of the stem as well as towards the periphery by dividing tangentially. The new cells which are produced towards the center, towards the inner side, towards the primary phloem, they differentiate into elements of secondary xylem. They form tracheids, they form vessels of secondary xylem. And the new cells which are produced towards the outer side, they form the axial or longitudinal elements of secondary phloem. They form the sieve tube elements. Okay. The primary phloem, जो primary phloem होता है यहाँ पे, ये वाला यहाँ पे primary phloem है. Okay. और यहाँ पे ये primary xylem था. बीच में कौन सी सेल थी? Vascular cambium की. Okay. जब यहाँ पे सेल्स ऐड हो जाती है तो प्राइमरी फ्लोएम यहाँ पे नहीं रहता है. ओके. ये यहाँ पे पहुँच जाता है और इसका साइज कम हो जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रेशर of the secondary tissues. Okay. That forms continuously. The secondary phloem, it gets crushed. यहाँ पे secondary phloem एक कम होता जा रहा है and finally it will get crushed. The cambium is generally more active on the inner side. That means the number of cells which are produced on the inner side, they are more as compared to the number of cells which are produced on the outer side. And that is why there is production of more, the production of secondary xylem is more as compared to the production of secondary phloem. याद रखना, the cambium, it adds more cells towards the inner side as compared to the outer side, and that is why secondary xylem produced is relatively more as compared to the secondary phloem. Here you can see this is the complete ring of vascular bundles. Okay, sorry, complete ring of vascular cambium. It will divide continuously and add cells both towards the inner side and towards the outer side. Here you can see this here this line which separates the red band and the blue band, this line separating these two bands, it represents the vascular cambium. It adds cells both towards inner side and towards outer side. The blue band here, it represents secondary xylem. Okay, and this secondary xylem pushes primary xylem towards the center of the stem. Okay, and same is the case here. The secondary phloem that is produced this white red band, it pushes the secondary primary phloem towards the outer side and crushes it. Okay, आपके पास अभी बन गया है secondary xylem and this secondary phloem. Okay, now the formation of secondary medullary rays. पहले हमने बोला कैम्बियम कैसे बनता है, फिर हमने बोला कैम्बियम में कितनी सेल्स होती है, किस टाइप की सेल्स होती है, थर्ड एक्टिविटी ऑफ कैम्बियम, हाउ कैम्बियम डिवाइड्स, फोर्थ the formation of secondary xylem and secondary phloem, and finally formation of secondary medullary rays. We have already discussed the function of fusiform in shells. Now the function of ray in shells. The ray in shells of vascular cambium ring, they divide by tangential walls just like fusiform in shells and add more cells on both its sides. यहाँ पे ये vascular cambium है, okay? अब मान लीजिए ये वाली सेल जो है ये फ्यूजिफॉर्म इंशल है, इसने अंदर की तरह सेकेंडरी जाइलम बनाया और बाहर की तरह सेकेंडरी फ्लोएम बनाया, ओके। ये वाली सेल जो है इट विल नॉट रिजल्ट इन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ सेकेंडरी जाइलम एंड फ्लोएम, इंस्टेड इट विल रिजल्ट इन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ पैरेन्काइमेटस सेल्स व्हिच आर रेडियली elongated a bit, and it will result in the formation of secondary medullary rays, okay. And these rays, secondary medullary rays, they are usually 1 to few layers in thickness and 1 to several layers in height. यहाँ पे आप देख लीजिए जो आपके पास अभी secondary medullary rays है, they are 1 to several layers in thickness and they will be 1 to several layers in height, okay. ये height है इनकी और यहाँ पे आप देख लीजिए ये इनकी thickness है, they are 3 layers thick and 3 layers high, okay. These medullary rays, they form the radial system and help in radial conduction of solutes. It maintains connection between cortex and pith. जो secondary medullary rays होती है, it helps in the radial conduction of solutes and maintains the connection between secondary cortex and pith. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं, here you can see ये वाली जो lines है यहाँ पे, these are the secondary medullary rays, okay. They have resulted from the ray in shells of the cambium. जो ray in shells थी cambium की, उनने अंदर की तरफ भी cells बनाई, okay. ये एक ray in shell है cambium की और बाहर की तरफ भी cells बनाई. All these cells they remain parenchymatous and result in the formation of secondary medullary rays. यहाँ पे भी आप देख सकते हैं these rays which span both the secondary xylem here and secondary phloem, they are the secondary medullary rays, okay. This is all about the secondary growth, and in the next part we will discuss inshallah the animal rings. Till then, stay blessed and thank you.